Happy Thirsty Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another edition here of Dangle Bet Celly, live on our FTN Network YouTube page. A massive 13-game slate in the NHL. I still question the scheduling that the NHL has, two games, 13 games, 2 games, 13 games. But here we are. That's why we do the shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Chris Meaney and the Eric Young hanging out with you at the Eric Young on the X Machine at Chris Meaney here. You do us a solid. Smash the like button. You have any comments, you can leave them there in the comments section. We always get to them here on this show. If you're watching the replay, always circle back on these videos as well. In case you do have a fantasy hockey question, week 14 of the fantasy hockey season next week. Only a handful of weeks left until playoffs.
Right along.
Crazy. Moving right along. All right, let's get going here. Yeah, actually, I'll ask you off the top. Any hot waiver wire pickups for you? Dangle Bet Celly league, you're cruising. You got anybody you've hit the waiver wire lately? I know one guy we talked about last week on Tuesday was Nyquist and Kerfoot. Like those are guys that are kind of still hanging around in waiver wire leagues.
Yeah, Nyquist is someone. I mean, if he's available, you need to add him. I think there's a lot of places where someone like Mikael Granlund isn't on teams because he wasn't very good for the Predators last year. San Jose, lots of people, including us, were saying that this may be the worst team on paper in the history of the NHL. But they're still going to play games, and players are still going to rack up points. Someone like Zetterlund from San Jose as well. Look, he's playing top 6 minutes and he's playing top power play. He's going to rack up points while he's playing in those positions. And if he's available, it's someone you can stream. If San Jose has 3 or 4 games that week, just be paying attention. Something that me and you have always talked about and always preached about is schedule. If you have a player, a middle-of-the-road player, and he's going to play 2 games, you're better to have a middle-of-the-road player that's going to play 4 games. You're just upping your shot. The truth is fantasy football rules. I mean, there are different leagues, but the truth is hockey leagues are so different league to league. It's so hard to give advice. It's so hard. I know right now there's people like, oh, there's no way Mikael Granlund's available in my league, or there's no way that, is available in my league. So it's so difficult. It's all of it is dependent on your scoring system, things like that. But I think the one thing that people don't pay attention enough, especially if you're newer to fantasy hockey, is schedule. You want players playing that are going to have 3 and 4 games that week. There's obviously guys that you're never going to drop, like Kucherov and Crosby and Panarin and, like superstar players. But when you're talking about, guys like Tommy Novak or Matt Duchene or Bennett, players like this, like, yes, they're good players, but if they're going to play 2 games, you're better off having a player that's going to play 4. And then hopefully you can repick him up, or another guy that's going to have 4. You need to be constantly shuffling your rosters like that.
I think especially at this time of the season as well. Once we get into close to playoff time, it really is all about games played, like you said. And it's something we hit on in the waiver wire article every Sunday over at ftnfantasy.com. So look for that. Just kind of quickly here off the top of my head. I'm taking a look at a couple players that I feel like should be owned. Like we talked about, Nyquist's ownership is 22% in Yahoo leagues. Like Max Domi's ownership percentage in Yahoo leagues is 30. Like, what are we doing here? We're picking up all these average Leafs because they're average because they're the Leafs. I think because they played last night and they played against the Kings. That's partly the reason, but Nyquist shouldn't have a lower ownership than Max Domi. Domi's done nothing all year. But Nyquist, I like Jake DeBrusk in deeper leagues, Charlie Coyle, 2 guys we'll talk about here. Ricard Raquel still got a sub 40% ownership. Nick Suzuki's hanging around 60%. He's basically been a point per game guy over the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's been pretty solid. Mason Marchment on that second line, as well as Max Pacioretty returned last night. I would consider selling high on him if you could. He's a big name. He's recovering from his second Achilles injury, but he is a volume shooter. He didn't do a whole lot last night in his first game, but he is somebody that could certainly help you out. But if he gets on a little bit of a heater, I would consider just making him available to your league mates because he does have the big name. He has the NHL resume, and unfortunately for him, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Rooting for him but it's still a high candidate for me. We'll get going here because we have 13 games. Just wanted to talk a little fantasy hockey here off the top. And of course, it'll filter through as we preview every single game here. Szymanski in the house. Good morning. Surprised at the lack of plays that I love today with such a huge slate. More about prices, good prices, that is, instead of guys in great spots. Couldn't agree more. Looking at the slate last night, taking a look at some props, put a couple picks into the tracker. There wasn't a whole lot that I loved. Going to go back to some of the usual suspects that we talked about on Tuesday that really worked out for us quite well. Like we had Waiver, we had Nyquist. You called a bunch of goal scorers. In the article, 20 goal scorers.
I know that the list was a million miles long, but the people watching the show are aware of how difficult that is. Yeah. I mean, we had ourselves a night Tuesday night. We did.
Yeah, we really did. Kerfoot, some of the longer shot ones worked out for us, like Nyquist with a power play goal, and Kerfoot had a shorthanded goal. We had JT Compher there as well. I was looking for something from Kane and DeBrincat. Really let me down at the end of the night.
Yeah.
I had like a 12-1 same. It was like a kind of a same game parlay, but 4 different games with point props in there at 365. And I just needed Kane and DeBrincat to hit the score sheet. And these guys couldn't do it against the Sharks, but we'll try to find some good spots. I am going to go back to a few guys that worked out for us on Tuesday. I agree. This is a weird slate. Don't know how to approach this. Luckily we have Means and EY to help us. Troy, welcome in, man. Daily Handle, welcome in as well. Good morning to you, Means, everyone here. And Troy is talking about the Blue Jackets always struggling against the Flyers. Not looking forward to tonight. The Flyers bully them. Yeah, it's a long road trip, though. You might be able to catch them flat, returning back home. Hit the Saros shutout, Marchese says, Tuesday at 8-1. Good stuff there, bud. Seth, good morning, fellas. I've got Ehlers and Eriksson Ek over 3.5 shots. Reinhart, Dahlin over 2.5 in my parlay. How do you feel about that? Love it. Dahlin's a little bit juiced. I think I saw last night minus 160. I was still going to put it in, but in a parlay, absolutely. Joel Eriksson Ek, and Ehlers is already in the tracker at plus money, and I do love Eriksson Ek. As we talked about Minnesota, they're extremely shorthanded. We talked about the Flames. We liked Calgary. We liked Calgary to win the game, even though for me, that was the first time I bet them all year long, putting my hard-earned bucks on the Flames. But the Wild, extremely shorthanded, and Eriksson Ek's getting a lot of run, and Reinhart's been hitting consistently, a guy that we had on Tuesday as well. So love it, Seth. It's looks like a pretty good card there for you. Brett, good morning. And Seth is Adam's in on that as well. And then Shabbat Shots, maybe my favorite play of the night, plus 222 on FanDuel, top power play. He's another guy that is available in fantasy hockey leagues. Like he may have been dropped. His ownership's 64%. I love the call. A lot of ice time for him all the time. And I like him for a point too. He's plus money. He's got 3 points in 2 games. He's got 5 shots over those 2 games. Played 25-25 the other night against the Vancouver Canucks. So let's get going here. Let's start. Where should we start? Maybe up at the top left here. We'll go with the Boston Bruins. I think EY and I are both battling colds here. 'Tis this season. We're going to power through this, though, as we see a lot of hockey games here tonight. So Boston Bruins and the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll give you some live odds here. Again, I always reference the parlay calculator and the prop shop, 2 tools that are free over at ftmbets.com to get the best possible number. I'm seeing minus 145 for the Bruins at home over at Caesars, and the Pens checking at plus 128 over at Bet Rivers. I'm going to go, like I said, to the usual suspects for me over the past couple of games. I've really had my eye on that second line for the Boston Bruins. I like Charlie Coyle tonight for a point. He's at minus 105. He's plus 175 to pick up a point. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but what I said about him on Tuesday, I just think it implies, he's getting an opportunity here. It's really what it is. The Bruins are their top 2 centers, and Coyle, he's got the 13 goals. He's just 5 away from matching his career high from a few years ago with the Wild. He's got 27 points in 36 games. He checks in riding a 4-game point streak, and he's got 6 points over that span. 3 are goals. His shot prop is 1.5 at minus 145. It's not bad. He's got back-to-back games of 2 shots. He's got at least 2 shots in 3 of his last 4. It's like an okay spot here. And then the other guy on that line that I like is Jake DeBrusk. Jake DeBrusk also has the 4-game point streak. I mean, this line is just playing really good. He's got the 2 goals over that span as well. I stay away from his shot props. I mean, I see the value on the point. He's plus 100 for him to pick up a point. He actually has 4 power play points over the last 4 games as well. He's plus 600 for a power play point tonight. He's not always on that first unit. I've seen him on the second unit most of the season, but my goodness, I bet him the other day against the Red Wings to get a power play point. I'm like, he's got power play points in back-to-back games. Let's take this 6-1. Didn't do it. And I'm like, I won't go back to that, against the Blue Jackets. I'm not going to do it. And then he picks up a power play point. So I am going to do it today. Maybe proceed with caution. But, I mean, for a guy that's 6-1 to pick up a power play point, and he's got 4 of them in his last 4 games, I'm really interested in that. On the other side, Raquel, I know it's the Bruins. They don't give up a whole lot, but this is a guy the books just haven't adjusted for him. I know Brian Russ returned to the lineup, but Raquel stayed on that top line. And that top line, even though they lost to Washington, I thought, they had some nice moments. So they may stick together for a couple more games. He's minus 105 for a point. So Coyle, DeBrusk, and Raquel for me. What you got for goal scorers?
Goal scorers, I'm going pretty chalky here, but it's just what I believe is going to happen. If it happens, I mean, Pittsburgh has been so up and down. Jari's played well. Jari's played terribly. So you just don't know what you're going to get with Pittsburgh this year. But I'm going to go Pasta and Marchand. I like, they're on both playing together on the power play, but playing on separate lines. So love that. And I'm going to go Crosby and Malkin, obviously playing, centering the top 2 lines, but also playing together on the power play. So it's super chalky, but I think if I'm going to bet on people to score, that's who it's going to be.
Yeah, for me, when I pick a goal scorer on Pittsburgh, it's always Gensel. I'm just a sucker for Gensel. He shoots so much, and he just scores all the time. Crosby's always looking for him. So, all right, we like that one. Okay, let's move on. Let's keep things going here. Columbus and Philadelphia. We have the Flyers. We've been gushing over the Flyers' play of late. It's been pretty solid. They returned home after a pretty lengthy road trip. They went to Detroit, lost 6-7. 7-6. They beat Vancouver 4-1. They lost to the Kraken 2-1. They lost to the Flames 4-3, and they lost to Edmonton 5-4. So the road trip wasn't really successful. They had 1 win in over 5 games, and they let in a few goals. They just picked up the 1 W against Vancouver. I typically, I know Troy, you say the Flyers give them a good go. I typically just fade teams at home after these long road trips. I don't know what it is. Sometimes they're just a little bit flat. I don't feel like betting on Columbus, but I'll just fade the Flyers here. But I do like Cam Atkinson. He's starting to shoot again. He's got 10 shots over his last 2 hockey games. He had 3 the other night and 7 the game before that. I put him in the tracker last night. I believe I saw minus 120. Yeah, so the price has changed a little bit. I see minus 130 over at DraftKings, minus 130 over at Bet365 as well. So I'm going to go with him. And I like Travis Konechny. Konechny scored a really nice goal the other night. He was minus 130 for a point. And because it's the Blue Jackets, you're not getting that price, but minus 160, he'd be in like a parlay for me. I'll probably do like a 4-way point parlay. Let's put Konechny on it, and we'll just add as we go. Because I do like him to hit the score sheet. He's also plus 150 for an assist tonight. And you just look at the back of the hockey card, EY. Like, this guy's, I know he's one of your favorite players. 18 goals, 33 points in 34 games. He checks in riding a 5-game point streak. He's got points in 7 of his last 8 and 11 of his last, quick math, 13 games. Man, he's been cooking. So I like him to hit the score sheet tonight. I don't mind that juice. What you got? And Chinnikov, I should give him some love because he seems to get a point every other night, and he's plus money.
Yeah, I'm going to go Marashenko at 125 and Goudreau. I get that he hasn't been having a great season, but it does seem like he's starting to warm up a little bit and getting some points here. Obviously, goal scoring has not been like his thing. He's definitely a pass first guy, but he's at plus 310. And a player with his ability at 310, I'm going to bet on him to score. On the Philly side, we're in lockstep on Konechny. He's been awesome. He was like one of those guys drafted high and everyone liked him. He came into the league and then he was kind of invisible there for a little bit. And then all of a sudden turned into this this really good player and has been very consistent ever since. So I'm going connecting, and I'm going back to Morgan Frost. He's playing on that second line and playing on the top power play. He's at plus 350, so I'm going to have him to score as well.
I dig it. We have Joey in the house. He says, "Go Pens!" Ayo, go Pens. He likes that. Shabbat 260 for over 1.5 shots. I mean, that's fine. We're putting that in a parlay, right? I mean, we can't take that as a single, but I mean, I like that too. I think he gets a couple shots, but I'm in on this. Yeah, I think he can take it for 3 shots once we get to the Sens. Over in Columbus, Marchese likes the Blue Jackets there. I love Shabbat too. Too bad I dropped him in fantasy a while back because I had too many injuries. I mean, I get it. You'd like to hold on to him, but if you have 3 or 4 injuries, it's really tough. I mean, a couple different injuries. Shabbat hasn't been able to stay healthy for a little bit. Little narrative, but maybe Goudreau for a point, returning home to a lot of family. I've done this a couple times, even without the narrative. EY, you said it. He's been playing much better lately. It's almost like I don't know, maybe he's playing his best hockey as a Blue Jacket, really. You look at the last few games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of his last 9. He's picked up a point. He's got 2 3-point games over that span as well. He's not shooting enough for me to really buy in. Why doesn't he shoot the puck? 1-1.
I don't know.
He gets so much ice time. The puck seems to always be on his stick, but he's minus 105 for a point. So this is pretty good odds there for him as well. I really like Fantilli. Fantilli's getting all the slot passes from Goudreau. Yeah, it seems to be a really good connection there between the two guys. Adam Fantilli's playing like a young Nathan McKinnon, I swear to you. It's decent little comparison. I thought he had a beautiful goal the other night when he came in on the Leafs with a ton of speed and ripped it. I took Fantilli's shots about 30 minutes ago. So the entire crew seems to be on Fantilli. What's the price for him? Let's see. I think it's decent. It's been really decent all year long. It's not really showing up in the tracker right now. Over at DraftKings, he is... what do we got? Plus 120. Plus 120 is pretty solid. The attempts have been there for him, and that's probably why Goudreau is not shooting, right? He's got points in 4 of his last 5 shots the other night. Not consistently hitting, but not a bad little shot. Take a chance on a guy that's playing top minutes, getting an opportunity. Maybe we see the Flyers a little bit flat here, as I said, off that long road trip. So I like the call, guys. Chicago and New York. I'm not going to spend too much time here. I did drink a little bit of the juice with the Rangers on the puck line. I think it was minus 140 for them to win. But the Blackhawks are just so brutal. I think you can take the Rangers to win by 3-4 goals, little small sprinkles there. I have a same game parlay with Kreider and Mika Zibanejad. And then a larger same game parlay with the entire first power play. Got Adam Fox in there as well. Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, or Timmy Panarin. I think you could do some alternate shots and just go for 2+ for the big boys as well. And you can get something 5-1 out of that same game parlay in this game. Because I'd say the Rangers probably win this one. I'd say they score 5 goals or so. It's what we said the other night against the Sharks. I forget who they played, but we're just continuing to pick on San Jose. So, and Chicago. I think it was Chicago. It was Dallas, right? That's what it was. It was Dallas playing Chicago, and we're like, man, they're going to score a bunch of goals, and they had 8. Okay, so you got some goal scorers there. Kreider and Mika, those guys are cooking. But there could be a longer shot, maybe a Blake Wheeler goal. A Blake Wheeler point, Blake Wheeler assist. Maybe he hits the score sheet if the Rangers score 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chicago. I'm going Bedard, of course. He's 185. And I'm going Jason Dickinson. He looked really good against the Preds. Not a super goal-scoring guy or anything like that, but I think he's got 11 goals this season, which is a high for him. He's playing important minutes and playing on the second power play. Okay, I mean, it's Chicago, so I had Cole Gutman, I think, in the last game, and he had a couple real close chances. But I'm going to go Jason Dixon tonight. On the Rangers side, I'm going Kreider and Panarin.
Wheeler's plus 120 for a point. I know he hasn't really been doing a whole lot, and that's why you're getting plus 120. But my goodness, the matchup's great. He's been doing a little bit better than I thought. I know he only has 15 points, but He's got points in 5 of his last 7 games, 7 of his last 10. That's pretty solid. I'm gonna have to take a Blake Wheeler prop here tonight. He's plus 120 for the point. It's probably gonna come via the assist. He's plus 190 for an assist. That's pretty solid. Blake Wheeler point, anybody? Blake Wheeler first goal tonight, 18-1. FanDuel, plus 375 for a goal. Blake Wheeler showing up tonight. It's the Blackhawks. These guys are trash. Sorry, Brzee. He knows. Actually, I think he's an Islanders guy. I forget. This is like I think as a group, we all like very bad hockey teams. Anyways, Habs and Sabres. Montreal at home, plus 114. How about the Canadians, man? They're goaltending. I saw Mike Kelly again of NHL Network tweeted out the steal percentage of the top goalies, and 3 of the top 4 are Habs. Montembeault and Jake Allen and Caden Primo are ruining the rebuilding process in Montreal. They beat the Stars the other night. Now they're back home. Again, I don't bet on teams at home after lengthy road trips. The Canadians had a 2-week road trip with a little bit of a mini break in there because of the holiday break. But they went on this is their first game at home since December 16th. They went to Winnipeg, Minnesota, Chicago, Carolina, Florida, Tampa, and then wrapped up against the Stars. I will say that Nick Suzuki is just playing so good. Ever since they put Slafkovsky on that top line with Cole Caulfield, it's just been one of the better 5-5 lines in the NHL over the last 3 weeks. Suzuki's got points in 3 straight games. He's got points in 8 of his last 9, 4 goals over that span as well. He's really playing good. There's a couple Sabres that I like here. I put Tage Thompson in at minus 150 for a point. I drank a little bit of juice on that one. He's been pretty good since returning. He's been firing the puck as well. I like him for 4 shots tonight. And I just like that top line. I like Alex Tuch. We talked about Rasmus Dahlin. He's definitely in play, but you have a little bit of juice on that shot prop for Dahlin. But Alex Tuch's at a pretty good price here at minus 135 for a point. So I know he's been pretty quiet. It's been pretty much a disappointing season for him and a lot of these Sabres players. His ownership has dropped over the last little bit. I'd be patient with him, but he's been pointless over his last 4. He did have a 4-point night against your Leafs on December 21st, but minus 135 for a point. I think that top line shows up tonight with Skinner, Tage Thompson, and Alex Tuch. I like them all to pick up a point. I'd say Thompson for shots, Dahlin for shots, and on the other side, I will pick Caulfield because that top line is cooking, man. So Caulfield, probably a Suzuki assist, and maybe a Slafkovsky point there. What you got?
Montreal side, Caulfield and Suzuki. And on the Buffalo side, I'm going Tage and going Cousins. He's playing pretty decent. Look, I mean, Buffalo is just been a disappointment, right? I mean, Tage has not been the same player. He was a superstar player last season. Scored in almost every game. It felt like now it's just like you never know where the points are going to come from. It sucks because you were really hoping and thinking Buffalo was going to be competitive this year, and it's pretty clear that they took a step backwards, which is not good.
Yeah, it's not, and a lot of these guys, Wheeler, let's go. We're getting nuts here, Mikey boy, G on this show today, but I dig it. I dig the Wheeler point. Like, come on, let's go here. JJ Peterka point is my favorite play today, y'all, from Joey. Okay, all right, we like that one. He's been playing pretty good. I like this one too. Tage Thompson is one of my favorite. He has been shooting since he's returned. It's tough, right? The Sabres can't buy a save. They're not good defensively. Tage Thompson's been hurt multiple times. Tuch missed time, Skinner missed time. So when you're losing that, your big 3. They haven't played a lot of hockey together, but Tage Thompson, since he's returned, especially of late, and I know you see this, Adam, the shots, right? 6, 5, 4, and 6, and then 2 the other night, but he's been picking up points too. I like that top line to kind of pop off. I'd say the Sabres could go into Montreal and win this game, catch them flat, but I'm not super confident on that one just because they haven't played all that good. Richard in the house, welcome in. Yeah, I dig this 35-1 for that top line. I'm definitely going to be in on that. I'm going to be in on the trio to pick up a point. And then the trio to pick up 2 points. I think that's pretty missed an opportunity to ladder all the Leafs last night. How about Austin Matthews? 20 shot attempts and 13 shots. We had Tavares. I had Matthews. I had like a little parlay with those guys, but really missed an opportunity to ladder Matthews up to 8 or 9. All those guys had, even Marner had like 7 or 8 shots last night. My goodness. How'd the Leafs not win by 5 or 6 goals? They pulled out the W.
Yeah, they were cooking. That Dostal, he looked really good.
He looked unbelievable. I thought it was at one point I was like, man, is this Gibson? Is it? Are you sure it's not Gibson?
Prime Gibson.
There? Yeah, showcasing for the Leafs. Acquire me. It could help you out. I know there's some rumors there, Gibson and Markstrom. We'll see what happens to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Should be a good one here in Dallas. We got the Stars and the Colorado Avalanche here. Dallas and Colorado, always a good one when these two teams play each other. Dallas slight home favorites here. The Avs, man, I don't know what's on with Georgiev. He leads the league in wins, but he lets in a ton of goals. He hasn't been too great. The Stars are minus 126 and Colorado's plus 110. Also, speaking of goalies, I know that Ottinger is close to returning, but Scott Wedgwood has played a lot of hockey, and I think he's kind of looking a little tired. Like I saw in I was watching the Dallas feed when they played the Habs the other night, and that was his 9th start in a row. He's allowed at least 4 goals in 2 of his last 3. He's allowed at least 3 goals in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the last 9 games, I guess, that he's started. I mean, he's doing all right. I mean, he's doing what he can for a backup, right? He's won 6 of the 9. This is a lot of hockey for the old boy and something that he's never done over the course of his career. I think we see some goals in this game. That's kind of, sometimes when you see these two teams play or other teams, it's like tight check and not a lot happens. And I'm sure that's a possibility, but with the goaltending on either side at the moment, I just think we're going to see a lot of offense. And Jonathan Drouin is one of those guys that I wanted to give a little bit of love to. You got him on your sheet? No dice. Eh?
I don't have him on my sheet, but I did pick him up in a couple leagues. That's somebody that I should have brought up when we were talking fantasy lineups. Look, I mean, he's playing important minutes and maybe not now, but at one point was a very, very skilled offensive player. And they're kind of relying on him to provide some offense here other than McKinnon and Rantanen. Colorado, I'm going McKinnon and Rantanen. Those are the usual suspects for me. Nathan McKinnon I think he's quickly becoming my favorite player to watch. There's no secret that I love Valerie Nichushkin.
Fun revenge game for the old boy.
Yeah, as a player. But I think he'll be amped up. And so I think, you could pick a worse player to sneak in your bets than Nichushkin and playing important minutes for them. And he's just a really good player. On the Dallas side, I'm going Robertson, and I'm going to go Duchesne here at plus 260.
There's another revenge game. Duchesne. Yeah, Ottinger's close, guys. I think he's like from week to week to day. I know he's been skating, so he's pretty close. I view him as a decent buy low candidate. I know some people may not want to give him up. Goalies are voodoo, but definitely when he's on the ice, I view him as like a top 3 fantasy hockey goalie, top 3, top 5. The new Nichushkin call is great. You know what? I wish I pushed it a little bit more. We talked about him scoring last week. We had him. But for a 2-point night, for Valerie Nichushkin was plus 180, and it's been like that for a while. And he was on the top line for a bit. I know he's on that second line, but he's producing and he's playing so much. Like he's just getting the usage rate for that big 3 is off the charts. Like 25, 26 minutes is pretty rare. For a forward. But look at some of these minutes for him: 27, 25, 29, 25. He's got back-to-back games at 2 points. He's got 4 multi-point games here over the last week and a half. I mean, he's just playing really good. So I think, you could alternate the point. It's for the first time I've seen in quite some time. It's just juiced for 1 point at minus 195. But the shot prop, for whatever reason, for him at Bet Rivers is minus 136. It's pretty. That's a misprice. I know it's Dallas. He's got 8 shots in his last 2 games. So if you're a Bet Rivers user, I think the play over there. Otherwise, DraftKings at minus 166. You can put him into that parlay with say Rasmus Dahlin, just somebody we talked about earlier. That's a little bit juice. Duren's plus 100 for a point. He's got points in 8 of his last 10 games. So he's getting points. He's producing. McKinnon is getting points every night. So these guys are playing. Duren assists playing on the top line and top PP. Yeah, I went for the point, but it's probably the assist is probably a good call because he doesn't like to shoot it. Plus 170 for the assist. He's plus 375 for a power play point. I love the call, Evan. He was one guy that I had on my short list looking last night and this morning. And that second line, Lehkonen is coming back soon. He's a guy that I would stash on IR. It's going to help the top 6. It's going to help them out defensively as well. He'll help out the PK. And it'll give them 2 solid lines because we haven't seen a whole lot from your former boy, Ryan Johansson. There it is. Szymanski's on it as well. Minus 136 for 3 shots for Valeri Nichushkin. EY loves Nichushkin. I love Voronikov. We love bear-sized Russians. Love it. Yeah, Marchman's been great too. What I've been doing is taking that second line on 365, Marchman, Sagan, and Duchesne, and it's like 4-1. For those guys. So it's not I think we're going to see some goals. I like the over. I think we're going to see some offense. Who do you think wins?
Oh, geez. I'm going to go Colorado on the road here. Like I think what you said is when was the last time Wedgwood has played this much hockey in a row?
Never.
Junior hockey or college hockey? I'm not really sure if he
I would say probably then, yeah. But
it's
not
been a long time. And I'm like, look at, I mean, I get these guys are pro athletes, but it's not the physical toll. It's the mental toll at the goalie position being dialed in like that. And until you're used to it, and, I mean, some guys never get used to it, right? They just are not capable of playing that many games in a row. They have to have a break more for the mental side than the physical side. I'm not saying that he's physically tired, but it's the hardest position in sports. And mentally, it's the most difficult position in sports. So good luck with all of that, Scott. And here comes the Colorado Avalanche.
I like the Stars. I like Dallas. Should be a good one. It's like a coin flip game. You just know I'm a sucker for Dallas. They're at home. They typically play a little bit better at home. I got smacked in the mouth against the Habs the other night, so a little bit of a rebound spot. I like this too. It's minus 166, I think, at DraftKings for Makar. He has been shooting. It's another guy that just plays so much. Again, maybe in a defenseman parlay here, Rasmus Dahlin and Cale Makar. It's not too bad. I think the Stars win the game. It should be a good one. Calgary and Nashville. Let's go to your Preds here at home. Nashville checking in at minus 120 and Calgary at plus 102. Going back to him, Nyquist. Oh, baby. We had him for a point. We had him for a goal. We had him for a power play point. We cashed in about 5 or 6 units on that goal that he did score. And again, minus 120 for a point, plus 150 for an assist. He's minus 145 for 2 shots. He's just playing good hockey. And there's no, we don't need to get into it too much more. Top line, point streak here entering tonight, 6 points. He's got 6 points over his last 3 games. He's got 5 goals over this run as well. Not shooting a ton, so the shot prop is probably a fade. But he is picking up points, and he's picking them up on the power play. And I don't think we'll see a lot of offense in this game. I kind of have a lean to the under. But I do like him. And on the other side, I like Kadri. He's at a very similar price for a point. He's been pretty good. Huberdeau scored the other night. Do they come in bunches now?
Oh, man, I don't know if I'm ready to say
I don't know if they come in bunches, but he may score again. We've seen this all the time. We always talk about it. When you go so long without a goal, you get one. All of a sudden, you start getting puck luck. You start feeling a little bit better. I'd say Huberdeau may be worth a little bit of a sprinkle, and I don't know if I'd pick him just straight up to score a goal. Maybe it would just be like a first goal tonight. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I hope for Calgary, and I hope for him that he does. She's been a rough go for, who was not that long ago considered one of the best wingers in the league. It's crazy how quickly this has happened. I'm going Sarangovic and Zari on the Calgary side because it's wild. And the truth is once these two started playing important minutes for Calgary, they got more competitive, right? Calgary was in a bad way and losing tons of games, couldn't get a stop. It seems like when Zari was playing and scoring, they were winning games. So it's just a gut feeling with Sharon Gochin's area, but they're playing important minutes, playing power play time. So I like those two. Nashville, I'm going Forsberg, and Forsberg is my guaranteed lock to score tonight. He's just such a good player. And I'm going back to Tommy Novak because he should have scored in the last two games. He's all over the puck, all over the net, getting chances, playing really well on his line and centering that second line. And he's plus 330. So I think Tommy Novak gets one to go tonight.
What do you think about the under? I think it's a decent play. Like under 6 goals, minus 105. We're not going to see
neither one of these teams are offensive juggernauts, right? And I don't know if Saros plays. I know Lankinen is back. I didn't look at the goalie starts yet today, but I know they had Askarov off, but I'm pretty sure Lankinen was back with the team as of the other day. So I'm looking here.
I like the Adam Forsberg.
It does say Saros.
Says Saros. Yeah, they go back to Saros. Saros and Markstrom. I like the under. I don't think we'll see a whole lot of offense in that game. Daily Handle means since you're a Mavs fan, you have to support the Stars. I guess I don't think that's why, but I do like American Airlines Center. Oh baby, Habs went in there and picked up a dub. Okay, I like the under. St. Louis and Vancouver, the Canucks on the road. They are checking in at a pretty decent price, 135. This has moved a little bit in favor of the Blues. I like this price at minus 135 for Vancouver, plus 110 for the Blues on home ice. What you got for goal scorers? Brock Besser?
Let's see here. Where are they?
You got Bluger probably.
Did I miss? Oh no, I got Bluger probably. Yeah, I'm going Pettersson and Miller. Pettersson shooting the lights out the other night. He's having a career year. Man, he's such a good player too. Just
he's backing up the 100 points he had last year for sure. Yeah,
100%. And they're talking about like, are they going to pay him? Someone's going to pay him. So if you're Vancouver, you better pay him. I'm going Pettersson and Miller. And on the St. Louis side, I'm going Kyrou and Shen.
I like Kyrou for a point. I've been, ever since, the fan base booed him and he cried to the media. His game has been much better. Man, I thought we'd get a better price on that point, minus 175. Okay, so the days of minus 130 seem to be over for him. I'll probably just stay away from that one. I'm not going to put him in the connect me range there, but yeah, there's not a lot I like here. I like Vancouver to win the game. JT Miller and Brock Besser, like those guys for his same game parlay, they've been pretty consistent, usually plus money for those two guys, and on the road you'll get plus money for them. Miller's been picking up the assists and Brock's been picking up the goals, but JT Miller is a pretty good bet for a point. If you want to put him into some sort of same game parlay, I'd say like top 5 for me. Because he's just been picking them up nonstop. He's at 34 assists in 37 games to go along with 16 goals. So he's been, from a fantasy hockey standpoint, I think he's number 2, number 3 overall in the leagues that we play in bangers leagues. He's a top 5 player. And he always is like a top player. And he, in those formats, he should get reached on. Anyways, he's pretty solid. Tampa, Minnesota. I like the Bolts here too on the road. So a couple road Warriors for me. Minus 130 here for Tampa Bay. Again, Minnesota's they're just too shorthanded up front.
Yeah.
They're without their top goalie. They're without Kaprizov, who's on IR, and he's not going to play in this one. And then Zuccarello's on IR, and then they just lost Jared Spurgeon again. Like this guy has only played 16 games this season. He missed a big chunk of the start of the season. Then he played for about a month and he missed again another 2 weeks. Then he played 3 games and now he's back on IR. So Brock Faber is a guy that's going to rack up another 25, 26 minutes. If you're in, leagues with blocks and hits, he's mostly racking up some blocks as opposed to hits. He's having a decent season for a rook, but man, is he ever getting a lot of ice time? We talked about Joel Eriksson Ek soaking up a lot of that ice time. I like him for 4 shots tonight, but I like Tampa to go in and beat up on a Minnesota team that's just depleted. That's it. Calgary went in and beat them the other day, so I like Tampa to do the same thing.
Yeah, same for me. Just because, like you said, like they're just so short-handed. They got the bump there with the coaching change, but losing Kaprizov, losing Spurgeon, their captain again. I don't know if Hartman, did he get suspended? I mean, I know there's a lot of talk about that, and
I don't think so. I know Cousins got suspended 3 games for that hit on, or not Cousins, Zucker, Jason Zucker. Did you see that? That Nick Cousins had some cheap shot, and then Zucker went in and just gave it to him. Like Cousins is just standing like this, facing the glass, and like Zucker just chased him down and flattened him from behind. And Cousins plays the victim. Like, this guy's just chippy, dirty. Anyways, tonight we're gonna get to it in a little bit. Florida and Vegas is must-watch hockey tonight. I'll tell you that. But
it's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be real good. Tampa Bay side, I'm going Kucherov and I'm going Stamkos. In Minnesota, you got to go Matt Boldy, because who else is gonna? And I mean, Marco Rossi has been having a pretty good year for them. Obviously, going to be playing some important minutes for him. So that's, if someone's going to score, that would be my choice for Minnesota. But I think Tampa Bay beats up on them pretty bad here tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's an opportunity to take Tampa, like, not only on the money line at -130, but puck line. Like, you're going to get plus money for these guys to win by a couple goals. I dig it. As long as it's Vasilevsky between the pipes, I think that they're going to win like 4-2, 5-2. The guys in the chat are already talking about it. Can I get your thoughts on this Nick Cousins situation versus Arizona? I personally am sick of seeing this guy take runs at people and flopping around like a fish. He's one of my most hated dudes in the NHL. When he played for the Habs, I can see it firsthand, all the nastiness that he did. He was always on the first power play. He just drove me nuts. I just wanted him away from Montreal. But he is a pest. Thought he played a decent role in the playoffs last year. Paul Maurice likes to kind of shuffle to kind of get some of the other guys going. I know against the Leafs, they put Cousins with Kachuk and Verhaeghe, and he was a pain in Toronto's butt as well. Yeah, he's just one of those guys. He's dirty. He's chippy. He does flop around. He played victim. Like, that was a cheap shot. He should be suspended too. What he did was an absolute cheap shot, and that's why Zucker did what he did. And I'm not saying that was definitely dirty from Zucker as well. I would have just taken Cousins and just swung him around like a rag doll and just give it to him. That's what I would do. Yeah, I seen that too. The hit on Valimaki. That's the hit on Valimaki, right? That was the hit. And yeah, I know he never got in trouble. How about Maroon to score at +525? There you go. There's a long shot for you, Mark Casey. NHL protecting Cousins. Yeah. Maroon pizza money. I dig it. Yeah, man. It's I got nothing to say besides what I just said. He's a dirty hockey player, and I don't know, maybe at some point someone will feed him and give it to him. But tonight maybe we just go right there. Let's just go right to that game. It's not even next. We'll skip Islanders and Zona for a second. Florida and Vegas. These two teams played the other day in Vegas. I was telling you about it. And it got chippy. It got real chippy towards the end of the game. It's like Florida just took Florida took all their hate from the Stanley Cup loss, and they were just they were fighting everyone in front of the bench. It got extremely out of hand. And this is the way Florida plays. They just try to bully you, man. They matched the physicalness from Boston in the first round. They bullied the Leafs. They bullied the Hurricanes. They're always fighting. They're always finishing checks. They got some feisty dudes in their squad apart from Cousins. It should be a really good one. I actually don't know what side I want to take here. Florida's been pretty hot. They're playing pretty good. And we've talked about them over the past couple of weeks and jumping on them to win the Atlantic and win the East and a Stanley Cup future on them as well. I'm sure Vegas will be ready to go in this game against them, but they've also haven't been playing that great EY. They haven't been getting a lot of great goaltending. They need Aiden Hill back in a hurry. I think I lean with Florida, but can I take the over on penalty minutes? Because I think we'll see that.
I'm going Vegas at home here.
Okay.
Florida, I'm going back to Reinhardt and Verhaeghe in like the last week or so has been just shooting the lights out, man. He's a guy that we've always loved. I've been betting on other people to score, but Verhaeghe's been burying the puck. And he's obviously a streaky scorer. And when he's scoring all the time. At Vegas side, I'm going Eichel and I'm going Stone. You're right. They need Aiden Hill back. And it's hard to believe that we're saying that out loud. You're saying it, and then I'm agreeing with you. And as a guy that I've been interested in, like I had him in our salary cap league for years. He was a guy that I wrote about at the Athletic. People were saying for dynasty leagues, who's a goaltender that we could pick up. I had suggested him. Didn't listen to my own advice, and sometimes,
he hasn't been playing.
You got to put your money where your mouth is. He's obviously one of the top goalies in the league. He showed that in the playoffs, but it took him a while to find that game. Vegas needs him back, and when they get him back, they're going to roll right back into being a juggernaut again. I think that Vegas wins this game at home. They're so deep; they can play any which way. Florida's good too, but I mean their goaltending hasn't exactly been stellar either. So yeah, I'm going to Vegas to win tonight.
It's two teams like kind of headed in different directions at the moment, though. Like Vegas has lost 5 of 6, and the Panthers. I just want to give some love to a guy that I feel like you pick every night. It was Sam Reinhart, but the Panthers have won 5 straight games, and I'm going right back to Reinhardt's shot prop tonight as well. I mean, he's had at least 3 shots in 6 straight games. It's up to 24 goals on the season. It's hard to believe that it took this long for Reinhardt to play with Barkov. Like last year in the playoffs, that they weren't playing together. Reinhardt was on the third line. Like, think about that for a second. And they've moved him up on that thing. Him and Barkov, the chemistry. Barkov's just so good. He's just such a good player. Barkov assist, Reinhardt goal. Like, it's just been almost automatic. These two guys for a point is plus money in the same game parlay. Those are my two. I'm a big Verhaeghe guy. I like him to pick up a point. We had him the other night for a point. He scored on like the opening shift or two against Arizona. So I'd say like Verhaeghe point, Marchman point, Reinhardt 3 shots. Not Marchman. Marchessault. Jeez. Marchessault point and Marchessault shots. Like those are probably 2 of my favorite players in the NHL. Underrated guys is Marchessault and Carter Verhaeghe. So definitely like those guys to put some pucks on net tonight. But Reinhardt's probably the best play inside this game, and I'm going to lean with Florida. I just think that Florida, the way that they're playing right now, is pretty rock solid. Should be a good game. Everybody's seems to be in on this one. Yeah, Reinhardt over 2.5 shots plus money. I don't know why it's and I get it. It's Vegas, so I understand you're getting plus money. Florida will win the East. I think it's a pretty good bet. I'm definitely in on that. Florida. Remember, that one year when we would just live bet them losing in the third period and they would come back almost every game. You remember when we just bet the over 6.5 in every single Florida home game, and it just happened every single time? They were
was a run.
You could have taken the over 8.5 in a majority of those games, and you would have got it. So yeah, that was a good time. When they had Huberdeau, they came back and they won every game. That was a fun year for props and picks. And at that time, we were also getting Carter Verhaeghe over 2.5 shots. Those were the days at plus money. All right, we'll go back track a little bit here with the Islanders and the Arizona Coyotes. So we have New York on the road. I'll let you take this away, but you know that I'm going back to Kerfoot. So you better give him some love.
I'm not. That's your guy. Yeah. I'm going to my guy, and that's Lawson Krause, plus 210. Keller. I don't know if I've bet on someone other than Keller to score every time he plays. I'm pretty sure I've suggested if you're going to bet on someone to score from Arizona, it's Clayton Keller. Islanders. I'm going Nelson, and I'm going Horvat.
It's just the two guys, right? It's either Nelson or Horvat. I like Nelson for 3 shots tonight. I didn't even look. I assume that it's a touch juiced. It's not. It's minus 135. I dig that. That's pretty good. Arizona's still giving up a lot of shots. They're playing pretty good hockey. They're playing to a lot of unders. They're getting some good goaltending. They're not scoring a ton themselves. And on the other side, we know that the Islanders give up a whole lot too. Like, I'm trying to find somebody that I can feel decent about on Arizona to for a shot prop. And Keller's probably one of those guys. I mean, he hasn't been consistent shooting the puck, but we're getting a good price and the matchup is nice. But 4 straight games at 2 or fewer shots for him. Before that, he had gone 5 straight games, like 4, 5, 5, 3, and 3. I'd say because of the matchup, because of the fact that the Islanders give up so much at 5-5, maybe Clayton Keller is the play, or Lawson Krause at plus money, or just maybe drink a little bit of juice to have him for 2 shots. But Kerfoot, I don't know, man. He just continues to score goals and pick up points, and I don't really know how much longer he can continue to do this because it is unsustainable. But he does have points in 6 of his last 7 games. He's got 3 goals over that span. He's minus 105 for a point. He's plus 160 for the assists. Guys, he's just playing with good players. He's playing with Schmaltz, playing with Keller, first line, first power play. Scored a shorthanded goal the other night on a nice pass from your boy Lawson. So that's where I'm at. I would say Keller. Let's go Keller, Brock Nelson, and then a Kerfoot point. I like the under. I don't think we'll see a lot of offense. Actually, I already put the under in the tracker, under 6. All right, so we already hit on Florida, Vegas. Let's go to Seattle. We got the Senators and the Kraken here next on the schedule. Seattle's playing really, really good hockey at the moment, and I got to give some love to Joey Daccord. Daccord is hanging in there and playing some really good hockey. He's won 4 straight starts. The Kraken enter tonight on a 5-game winning streak. The under is hitting all 5 of those games, 2-1, 3-2, 2-1, 2-1, and 3-0. So even going back to mid-December, this is a team that's won 7 of their last 9 games. So after a really, really slow start to the season, they're starting to pick it up. I don't know where Jared McCann is. This guy's been quiet. I can't even go to him. I almost dropped him the other day. I'm really thinking about dropping him. 14 goals in the season is not too bad, but he's just been, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't like his placement on that second line with Wenberg. He's been very, very quiet. 0 shots the other night. I was thinking about under 2.5. I don't give too many unders, but I was thinking about the under, which probably means he's going to have a big night tonight. I don't know what's going on with the Sens, but I can't trust this team. Usually when I see them on the road plus money, it's like, maybe, but I think I'm just going to lean with Seattle. They've just been the better team, more sound, playing their best hockey of the season, actually getting good goaltending, where Ottawa isn't getting good goaltending. So I think the Kraken probably squeak one out. Bjorkstrand would be the guy I'd pick.
Yeah, I got Bjorkstrand on mine at plus 260, and I'm going McCann at plus 210.
You are
like
going
said, just
right.
Not the player that he was last year, but look at, I mean, I'm man enough to say it. Ottawa being good this year might be the worst call of my life. And
I'm right there with you. I thought that they would compete. They're not. They're awful.
It doesn't make sense for them to be this bad. I'm not saying like they're winning every game and shooting the lights out, but like if you look at the personnel on this team, forwards and defense, like they just shouldn't be this bad. And I get they're not getting any saves, but we can't just blame it on the goaltending forever. Like something's got to give one way or the other. It makes no sense for this team to be this bad. I'm still going to go with Tkachuk and Stützle to score here. But man, Ottawa stinks. They stink, and it's I'm man enough to say it and admit it. It's the worst call I've ever made.
I'm right there with you.
Simple.
Like, you're not alone. The entire NHL world thought that we would see an uptick from this squad. I don't know, man. I watched him the other night. Like, I loved Claude Giroux's game against Vancouver. I thought he was all over the ice. He made some really nice plays. You know,
what a player, man.
He's still got
there.
it too. Like, he's got one of the best.
Such a good player.
He's got one of the best toe drags in the league still. Nasty toe drag and set up Tarasenko the other night. But yeah, I don't know. They're definitely frustrated too. I see it in Stützle's game. I see it in Brady Tkachuk's game. The lines are different every night. Every night it's either Norris or Stützle on the top line. They switch these guys. I've been taking some same game parlays like with Giroux and Tkachuk. That's, that one hit the other night, luckily. Yeah, it's Shabbat season. I agree with you. I'm with everybody else. Shabbat, a lot of ice time. I think he's been one of our favorites on the show for the past couple of years,
Yep.
mostly because of the usage. Like, he's a good player. Even not getting top power play time, he still
Doesn't
plays
come off the ice.
a lot. He doesn't come off the ice. He's plus 114 for a point, and he's plus 120 over at DraftKings for 3 shots. And then I want to give love to a defenseman on the other side that's just been quietly really, really good. And he is minus 130 for a point. It's Vince Dunn. Vince Dunn's got 21 points in 38 games, got points in 4 straight games, got points in 7 of his last 9 games. So I'm interested in him, and I'd say Bjorkstrand probably scores. I like Seattle, and I'll just lean to the under because which is really scary because the Senators don't have any goaltending. The Kraken don't score a whole lot, and Joey he's been real good.
Yep.
I like the call, Mark Casey. What's the save prop for Decord? The Kraken don't give up a whole lot though. Like, I don't know if I love that one. I'm not seeing anything just yet. But he has been really good, and he's an immediate pickup. And at this point, when Grubauer is healthy, who cares? Because it's not like he's been fantastic in the 2 or 3 years. He's like, just ride out Joey Decord and see how long maybe he's the new Aiden Hill. I don't know, but he's playing pretty good for Seattle, and it'd be silly not to continue to ride that out. All right, 2 more games. Yep. Jets and Sharks. Got the Jets here on the puck line. I think I put that one in last night. I believe I had it at plus money. Let's see some live odds here for the Jets. Plus 105 over at Bet Rivers, Bet MGM against San Jose, SJ Sharkey. Gabe Vilardi's been pretty quiet over the past couple days. He breaks out tonight, I think. I like that top line. I'm going to do the top line at 365 for a point. I'm going to do the top line for a couple points. And I like Nikolai Ehlers as well for 4 shots because he's been playing pretty good. What you got over there?
Yeah, I got Ehlers, and I'm going back to Iafallo. I called him to score on Tuesday. He did that. He's playing on that top power play. Pretty consistent player, and has been for, it feels like a decade, right? Like, I mean, he's not going to score 40 goals or anything like that, but often, like you said, and we've said this a million times, guys get one to go like this, and then they feel loose. He's playing important minutes in the top 6. He's playing on the top power play with some really good players. So I like Alafio again tonight. San Jose, I'm going Hurdle because, of course, I am, and Mikhail Granlund because he's been great for them, and he's plus 350. And who else are you going to pick at San Jose? I went Zetterlund the other night. He looked really good, and he scored. It's good news for San Jose, for him and Eklund to be playing well and taking those increased minutes in stride and playing good. Like, I'm really curious to see Jose in 2 or 3 years. Like, it's been an impressive rebuild so far.
Yeah, Will Smith is a nice little player for them. They got some decent pieces there. Anyways, Ehlers is plus money for 4 shots tonight. Like, even if the Jets don't win this game, they should pile up a lot of shots. Over the last 2 weeks, Ehlers leads the team with 20 shots. The last couple of games, 5, 4, 4, 3, 4, and 5. And even another stretch there with a couple 4s mixed in. Vilardi, like I said, has been pretty quiet. I mean, he's gone to the last 4 games without a point, but he's been pretty money for the past 3 weeks, really. And he had 3 shots when they played the Sharks in San Jose a couple weeks ago. Actually lost that game. So fix the car, San Jose. They already beat Winnipeg once. I'm going to beat Winnipeg again. I don't think so anyways. Usually when, you get the one win, it's like when they beat the Oilers and then the Oilers played them, you knew Edmonton was just going to crush them that second time around. And I don't know if Winnipeg will crush them, but they're a team that's playing really good hockey lately and they're getting a lot of W's as long as it's Hellebuck between the pipes. And we'll see. Maybe it won't be because they're playing tomorrow night against Anaheim. So maybe they give him a night off here tonight, but I think they'll squeak out a dub. And then also I see the call, Adam, and I dig this one as well. One of our old favorites, Nito Niederreiter. One of my old favorites when he was playing on that top line, when Winnipeg acquired him. Remember, he was playing on that top line with Scheifele, and he was shooting a puck a lot and getting some points. He's an interesting call at plus money. He has had at least 3 shots in 4 of his last 5 games. I don't hate that call at all. I like that top line. I'm going to be in on that top line to pick up a point and pick up a couple points. And we'll wrap up here with LA and Detroit. We have the Red Wings and the Kings in LA on home ice tonight. I'll kick it over to you to finish this off here.
Detroit, going back to Brinkett, him and Kane, like it's just like putting this power couple back together, and it's so cool to watch. Great call by you with Comfer playing in between those two guys. And I'll say this, there's lots of wild stuff happening in betting. Can you remember Dylan Larkin playing for Detroit being a plus 220? Like,
that's pretty solid. Yeah.
It's solid, man. Like I get he's there's better players on Detroit now offensively, but Dylan Larkin is an animal, and playing the second line, centering the top power play at plus 220. Yes, please. Going back to Kempe at 165. I love watching this guy play hockey. He can shoot, he can skate, he hits. Like he's just a complete player, and not enough people are talking about him. Love Adrian Kempe, and Trevor Moore has been great. I mean, just great for Los Angeles. Great skater. Never seen a shot he doesn't like. Great release. Shooting the puck a ton. And he's at plus 210. So I'm going to go with him to score tonight too.
I like Byfield for the point. I know he's kind of been a little quiet over the past couple weeks, but he's still playing on the top power play, and he's still playing on the top line, and Detroit can't keep the puck out of their net. Like we talked about it on Tuesday, this team plays to a lot of overs. They give up a whole lot. I don't really like anything on Detroit's side. I think that we'll see LA bounce back after a tough loss to the Leafs. I see JT Compher may be alive for a point just because of what we said last week and what you just said. You know, he's playing with Canada Brinkat, so he could fall into a point. But Quentin Byfield is minus 115 for a point. He's plus 150 for an assist. He's plus 375 for a power play point. He's also plus 150 for 3 shots. Does have 7 shots on goal in his last 2 games, 3 and 4. He's been hitting a couple times, 3, 2, 3, 1 and 2, and then the last couple he's hit. So if you're looking for a late night shot prop, plus 150, but I do like the point for him tonight. I think Adrian Kempe scores. I think he's live for a couple goals, like maybe 2 or 3 tonight. Maybe get an Adrian Kempe Hattie. I think the Kings win, and I'll be taking them in 60 to win the game at home.
Me too.
Okay, let's recap here. Let me go for sides, and then I'll kick it over to you for some goal scorers, and then I'll wrap up with some points here tonight. So I like the Rangers in the puck line. I know it's pretty juicy there, but I do like them. I think he could do a little bit of a sprinkle for them to win by 3 goals potentially. I like the Canucks on the road. I like the under between Calgary and Nashville. I like the Stars at home. I like Tampa Bay on the road against Minnesota. I like the under between the Islanders and the Coyotes. I like the Kraken on home ice. I like the Kings in 60. I like the Jets on the puck line. I'd say if I just went down to my top 5 picks, I'd say Rangers puck line, Tampa Bay money line, Kings in 60, Jets puck line, and then I'll go with the under between the Islanders and the Coyotes. But I also like the under between the Flames and the Preds, and I think we'll see the Canucks win on the road as well. So that's sides and totals for me. You got some goal scorers.
Here we go. Bedard, Dickinson, Kreider, Panarin, Pasternak, Marchand, Crosby, Malkin, Marashenko, Goudreau, Konechny, Frost, Tage, Cousins, Caulfield, Suzuki, McKinnon, Rantanen, Robertson, Duchesne, Pedersen, Miller, Kyrou, Shen, Kucherov, Stamkos, Boldy, Rossi, Serengovich, Zari, Forsberg, Novak, Nelson, Horvat, Keller, Kraus, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, Eichel, Stone, Kachuk, Stützle, McCann, Bjorkstrand, DeBrincat, Larkin, Kempe, Moore, Ehlers, Iafallo, Hurdle, Granlund. The 8-way parlay goes as follows. Bedard, Panarin, Pasternak, Crosby, Pedersen, McKinnon, Kucherov, Forsberg. And Forsberg is my lock to score tonight.
Philip Forsberg. I got 5 goal scorers here for you. Tage Thompson, Mika Zibanejad, Nikita Kucherov, Adrian Kempe, and Gabriel Velarde. Some other props that I have here, like going back to those Boston guys and Coyle and DeBrusque. Also like Raquel. These are for a point. I like Konechny for a point. I like Cam Atkinson for 3 shots. So we're going to go Blake Wheeler for a point here tonight. And I'm interested in the plus 190 for the assists. Heck, he may even score first tonight, guys. 18-1. Rangers are going to get a ton of opportunities tonight, a ton of chances. It's an opportunity maybe to take some players that you normally don't take, like a Trocheck or a Blake Wheeler, somebody like that. Tage Thompson and Tuck, these guys for points here tonight. Also like Skinner for a point. I think that top line for 3 points and 3.65. We talked about them for 2 points. Jonathan Duran for a points in 8 of his last 10. Nyquist for a point. Joel Eriksson Ek for 4 shots. I got Verhaeghe and Marchessault for points. I got Sam Reinhart for 3 shots. I got Clayton Keller and Brock Nelson for 3 shots. Kerfoot for a point. I got Bjorkstrand for a point. Thomas Chabot for the 3 shots. Also like the point for him and Vince Dunn. Ehlers for 4 shots. Velarde for 2. Shout out to the Niederreiter call there. Szymanski, I like that one. And then Quentin Byfield to pick up a point as well. Check out the article. Should be live here soon over at ftnbets.com. And from Eric Young, myself, Chris Meaney, good luck tonight with all the plays. And have a fantastic weekend. And we'll be back on Tuesday. Cheers.